and Gianni Morbidelli, Stian Paulsen and Dan Lloyd, Nelson Ponciatici and Danny Nage, Nathan Biel and John Filippi in the Renault. Jessica Beckman, we just after her third place in race 2 a fortnight ago alongside Luca Filippi, Tamas Tenka, Gavrilov I mentioned earlier, Abdul Ali Al-Khalifi alongside Martin Rieber, Maribo Coppens, Lewis Kent, Stefan Fontaja and Lilo Wadu, and then right at the back of the grid, if he makes the start, and I can't quite see from here, Josh Files, championship leader, an absolute nightmare this morning for him. And right at the back of the grid, Viktor Davidovsky in the Honda. So let's talk about Files then. Championship leader had frustrating qualifying. Fastest lap of the session was disallowed because of infringing track limits. So he then pushed really hard to get into the top 12, which would mean he'd make it through to Q2. We have somebody stalled on the grid. That looks like Ash Sutton. Indeed it is, in the third, the guest entry on the WRT team this weekend. Now, can Ash Sutton get that car started and make it round into his grid position, or will he be pushed off the grid by the marshals? That is a hugely, hugely frustrating start to this race for Ash Sutton. So many hopes on him, but I'm not actually sure if Josh Files will make the start either because of that issue. A big crash while he was pushing to get into the top 12 at the top of Radion, which is where the cars are just heading up to now, where our camera position is. And no, indeed, Ash Sutton stationary on the grid. Big discussions going on with the team, and indeed the car having to be recovered off the grid. That's a huge disappointment for Ash Sutton and all the UK fans that will be watching this weekend. Hopes were high that from 4th on the grid he could be mixing it with the leaders, certainly with the Audis and with his WRT teammate, Maxime Potti. There is Brichet, as I was saying, an all-black front end after the mechanics worked all night to repair the front. And if you can see the other side, the left-hand side, driver's side of the car, that's mainly white. Again, because of panels going on at the last minute, but to reward them for their hard work, he qualified the car in 6th. Now then, we're looking towards the back of the field. There is Tom Coronel in the background in the quite easily identifiable Honda, the bright yellow car. There is Dusan Borkovic. We'll start race 2 from pole tomorrow. Slightly twitchy Andreas Beckman behind him. So there is David Kajaya in the Cupra, Borkovic in the Hyundai, and Andreas Beckman in the sister car, the Target Competition. 5 Hyundais for them this weekend, and huge, huge disappointment for Ash Sutton. Will he be able to start from the pit lane, or is that game over for race 1 here in Spa for him? There's Coronel, I mentioned. And there is Gianni Morbidelli. There was Gianni Morbidelli. There he is again in the 45 car, the West Coast Volkswagen. And indeed, oh no, I was hoping that car was going to be under its own power, but no, powered by marshals going up the pit lane. So from the 34 cars we were expecting to start this 23-minute race, 23 minutes plus 1 lap, remember, we're already down to 33, it would appear, possibly 32, if Files is a non-starter. So just underneath me, just underneath the commentary position, I'm just seeing the front row of the grid, the 2 Audis pulling into position. And that's the shot looking back from the first turn, the right-hand hairpin at La Source. So hopefully if our director can show me. And indeed, that is Josh Files, a white front end to the car. The Target Competition guys have worked wonders to get that car out. If you've looked on social media any time in the last couple of hours, you'll have seen a virtually destroyed Hyundai. That is an incredible job. What can Josh Files do to repay them, starting from the back row of the grid? So we do indeed have 33 of the planned 34 entries here at Spa. That is great news for Josh Files, great news for Target Competition, but I suspect this story is going to be all about those two Audis and the first corner. What can Potty do from row 2 of the grid? Green flag waves, lights go on. A very quick light. This time, Urrutia makes a good start. That was his problem in Hockenheim a fortnight ago. He tucks in. Compt has made it up into third. Quite a few cars running wide at La Source. They head down the hill to the very quick left and right at Eau Rouge, then up the hill at Radillon. And already Magnus putting his foot down. Urrutia, Compt. This was where so many went off, at the top of Radillon, down the Kemmel Straight, into the sequence at Les Combes. Oh, a little squirrel under braking there, and Compt goes across the runoff area, as does Brichet. They'll have to give that position back, because both, I think, got ahead. Oh, and there's contact between, I think that's Gianni Morbidelli, is it? No, indeed, I think that was Ollie Kangas in the second of the West Coast Volkswagens caught up in that, the 46 car. And we'll need to look at that. There is Julien Brichet. David Kajaya alongside. Brichet running slowly, is he? Yes. Brichet dropping back. So a problem for Brichet. Huge disappointment as the yellow flags come out at the top of Les Combes. As Gilles Magnus puts the hammer down, Urrutia. Compt alongside him. Urrutia, though, has the line. As Matto Homola goes side to side with Jimmy Claret. Claret holds the position. Homola now still 6th, and we have a safety car coming out while those cars are recovered. And indeed, it is Ollie Kangas and Teddy Claret, who's already been off once today, went off in the first stage of qualifying. Huge disappointment then for him. Frustration, I suspect, for Gilles Magnus, who was starting to put the hammer down and pulling away from Santiago Urrutia. But those cars will need to be recovered, while we will take a look back at the start, I suspect. Okay, then let's take a look back at the start, if we may, and watch the second row of the grid. The Audis are away. Urrutia, as I was saying, made a really good start, but Compt, best start of all. Potty seemed to bog down and drop right the way back. So, Magnus, Urrutia, Compt, Brichet already up, and that, I think, was one of the Clarets running wide. And indeed, if you look at it from that angle, Potty was completely caught out by the lights and already dropped back to 7th, and 4 abreast going into turn 1 at La Source. The stream through Radillon for the first time, and then this is the contact, and it would appear that Teddy Claret, the innocent bystander in all of that, somebody collected Kangas's car and pushed him across into Claret and put them both out. So we have a safety car then here at Spa, as Julien Brichet is in the pits. Up goes the bonnet. So it's a big shake-up of the positions here. Julien Brichet, winner of race 2 in Hungary, winner of race 2 in Hockenheim 2 weeks ago. We were wondering if there was a pattern emerging, and Brichet playing the reverse grid system to perfection. So what can happen tomorrow? And that'll be hugely disappointing to the team who worked so hard to get that car back out. So then our top 10 for you after this interrupted first lap. Gilles Magnus leads from Santiago Urrutia. Aurélien Compt 3rd. Jimmy Claret fourth. We saw that battle with Mato Homela, who's fifth. Maxime Potti has recovered a place to sixth. David Kajaya up a couple of places to seventh. Tom Coronel eighth. Luca Engstler ninth. Gianni Morbidelli 10th. And then positions down to 15th, which are the point-scoring positions. Andreas Beckmann 11th. Stian Paulsen we've hardly mentioned after a disappointing weekend in Germany. Paulsen 12th, Borkovic 13th, Dan Lloyd 14th, and Danny Nagy in 15th in the Mira Hyundai. Dan Lloyd we've hardly mentioned either. Had a Lloyd had a frustrating weekend 2 weeks ago. And here, he thought he'd made it through. Now, this is this scrap between Aurélien Comte and Urrutia. I think Comte had nosed in front, certainly has another go, and Urrutia holds the position. But Dan Lloyd this morning thought he'd made it through to Q2. His quickest lap in Q1 was then deleted and still went out into Q2, set what he thought was the third quickest time, only to be told he shouldn't have been in Q2 after all. The reason his quickest lap was deleted was that he'd completed the lap just as the red flag came out for, I think it was Files' incident towards the end of Q2. And so slightly bewildered Dan Lloyd thought he was P3 and eventually ended up P18. Brichet still in the car, so there must be a hope of getting that car back out again. The safety car will help him, of course, but not if he stays in the pits much longer. That's the scene in the Boutsen-Gignon garage, looking at the lap times. Coronel, starting from 7th row of the grid, has made it up into 8th place. So more work for the Team Claret guys to do. Two cars, of course. The two brothers, Jimmy and Teddy. And Jimmy is currently in 4th place. Teddy having a torrid weekend, to put it mildly. Clock still ticking down then. Just over 15.5 minutes plus 1 lap of this first race, and you can almost sense the frustration. And Josh Files, having started from the back row of the grid, has already made it up into 22nd place. So something like 10 places made up by our championship leader. Winner of race 1 at the Hockenheim 2 weeks ago. Clearly feels that there's unfinished business in TCR Europe for him after a torrid season for him last year with a string of disappointments. Not more so than here at Spa. Didn't finish the first race, finished last in race 2. Fingers crossed, both the cars have been recovered. Fingers crossed, then we'll be back underway very shortly. This was the start once again. And look at Comte coming out past Potti, who just bogs down. So Audi, Peugeot, Peugeot. And just look at that. Comte having to take avoiding action to get round Potti. And in the same way that Urrutia was caught napping in Hockenheim, I think the same happened to Potti there. This is the iconic shot of Spa looking down the hill from the top of Raidillon. And that's the moment that's caused the safety car. Ollie Kangas in the West Coast Volkswagen. The sister car of Gianni Morbidelli is 10th. And indeed, the safety car will be coming in this lap. So racing about to get underway. The team radios will be buzzing with the news. And so it'll be down to Gilles Magnus to control this restart. Safety car lights will go off as the field heads down towards Blanchimont, turn 17. The field currently streaming through turn 8, the right-hand hairpin at Bruxelles. There's the left-hander at turn 9, before dropping down to the double left-hander, now called double gauche, but our older viewers will remember it as Pouin. And just talking to the drivers here, they're well aware of the heritage, of the history of Spa-Francorchamps, and some of them, having never driven here before, Ash Sutton, were saying, and Brichet is back out. The team have got him underway again. What can Brichet salvage from this race, if anything? Fingers crossed he can bring something home for the team, but at least he's underway again. So safety car lights should be going off momentarily. The words clearly got around. Everyone will be backed up. So Magnus, having started to open up that gap, Urrutia defending from Comte, they'll have to do it all again once the safety car peels off. Okay, lights are off. The safety car will accelerate away. And then it will be down to Gilles Magnus to head down towards the chicane, turns 18 and 19, and then up to the start line to take the green flag, and we'll be racing once again. Under 12 minutes plus a lap of this race remaining. Gilles Magnus started from pole. He leads Santiago Urrutia in an Audi 1-2. Then it's the two Peugeots of Aurélien Comte and Jimmy Claret, third and fourth. Matto Homola, fifth in a Hyundai. Maxime Potti, after that dreadful start in the Volkswagen, is sixth. Ahead of David Kajaya in a Cupra, Tom Coronel in a Honda, Luca Engstler in a Hyundai, and Gianni Morbidelli in a Volkswagen. So then, here they come, down towards the chicane. Urrutia right up behind Magnus. So here we go, they come round this corner, they can see the green flag, and we are racing once again here at Spa. 11 minutes of this race remaining. Down then to La Source. As Engstler, I think it was, jinks to the side. Through La Source. Already Aurélien Comte taking a look at the inside of Santiago Urrutia. But that would be a brave move heading down towards Eau Rouge. Luca Engstler slightly loose on the run to Eau Rouge, as Paulsen, that is, currently 12th, just running wide. Andreas Beckmann ahead of him. So the two Audis, Magnus and Urrutia, then the two Peugeots. Then that wasn't contact, that was just Homola jinking slightly under braking, I think, for the first of the Les Combes trio of corners. Look at this for a scrap. Kajaya in the mix, Potti in the mix, Coronel in there as well, as is Gianni Morbidelli in the red Volkswagen at the back there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Potti having taken fifth back. Potti in the number 8 Volkswagen. Then Homola. Then Kajaya in the Cupra. Then Luca Engstler. Then Coronel, then Morbidelli. And Files running slowly. No, that's bitter disappointment for him, and no reward for the team after that brilliant work to get the car back out. So Josh Files, disappointment yet again at Spa for the young English driver. There's confirmation on the left of your screen. Potti is now up to 5th, Homola 6th, Kajaya 7th, Engstler 8th, Coronel now 9th, Morbidelli 10th, Paulsen 11th ahead of Beckmann, Lloyd 13th, Borkovic 14th, Narge 15th. Down then towards the chicane. Coronel looking at the back of Luca Engstler's car. Engstler having a great weekend last weekend in China. He's contesting TCR Asia this weekend. Oh, a lock-up from Santiago Urrutia, and that was going to be the passing move of the race if he'd stuck with it. But it was the run down to La Source. Hopefully we can see that again. Gilles Magnus having been passed briefly, very briefly, by Santiago Urrutia, who had a good go. Aurélien Comte still third, Jimmy Claret still fourth. And now Magnus senses his opportunity to pull away. Magnus, of course, on home soil. Urrutia a long way away from home. Urrutia having competed in Indy Lights for the last few years. And that's a good scrap that's starting to develop. In fact, several good battles within the top 10 worth watching. It's almost spoilt for choice if you're a TV director. That's David Kajaya and Mato Homola, and that's the battle for 6th place at the moment. And Kajaya goes up the inside. Kajaya edges out Mato Homola. Homola, though, has the line for the left-hander. The pair go side by side. Really gutsy driving from David Kajaya, the Georgian driver, but indeed Homola holds the line. Side by side they touch again. Homola holds the line though, and holds it through the left-hander. Kajaya though isn't giving up. Kajaya runs wide, comes back out, and is still alongside. This time has the line for the right-hander. Homola tucks in behind. Let's keep an eye on this battle. Kajaya, Homola, Luca Engstler, then Compton, Tom Coronel, and Stian Paulsen has passed Gianni Morbidelli for 10th. And Kajaya is not at the best of seasons so far this year. Sat out last year, you may remember, after race-winning performances in TCR International. And this is Ash Sutton, who's now blowing smoke, or is it tyre smoke? And that's what I was saying about Urrutia. Late braking into La Source, but the move not coming off, and so settling for second. This is the battle that fascinated us on that previous lap. Homola and Kajaya, hammer and tongs, no quarter given, none expected, and Kajaya has the position over Mato Homola. And Maribo Coppens in the Cupra being pushed clear. So another retirement. Magnus now, 3/10, nearly 4/10 over Urrutia. Then a slight gap to Comte, then Claret. There's Potty, then Kajaya, then Homola still in close attendance. Then Engstler. Slight gap to Coronel, who's now got Stian Paulsen breathing down his neck. This is turning into a cracking race because I think Urrutia has got ambitions on the lead. Coronel just taking a little look up the inside of Paulsen. Dan Lloyd in the 1-2-3 car, just passing Andreas Beckmann for 12th. So Dan Lloyd started 18th, now up into 12th. His next target, Gianni Morbidelli, ahead of him. There is Lloyd. And the two Brutal Fish racing cars. Lloyd's the predominantly bronze-coloured Honda, his teammate Martin Rieber. And there is Josh Files dejectedly taking off his balaclava and his helmet. So near, and yet so far for Josh Files and the target team. And he did say that he thought the engine had been damaged by that collision with the barriers in qualifying, and was hopeful that if they could get it out, the engine would last, but he was talking about an engine change tonight. In any case, as we look at Stian Paulsen, looking at Luca Engstler, Paulsen 9th, Engstler 8th. As once again, Kajaya, slight gap now to Homola, Engstler, Paulsen, who really could do with some points. The field streams through, Kajaya pulling away. Lloyd having made it up to 12th, as I said, from Andreas Beckmann in 13th. A couple of gaps developing, but Paulsen really having a look at Engstler. And indeed, Engstler giving way, I think. Oh, slightly squirrely under, turning in for the left-hander. That's coming out of Blanchimont. but Paulsen picking his moment and going through. Morbidelli also just having a little look, and Morbidelli passing Coronel for 10th. Gianni Morbidelli in the West Coast Volkswagen takes 10th away from Tom Coronel. So all change on lap 6. Dan Lloyd now takes a look up alongside Coronel. The pair, oh, and there's contact between Coronel and Morbidelli as Coronel muscles his way past to retake the position. Tom Coronel back into 10th then. And what has that done for Dan Lloyd, who's also gone through? So Dan Lloyd has benefited the most from that little touch. Just up behind Coronel with a frustrated Gianni Morbidelli behind. Then it's one of the Beckmans. Andreas with Borkovic in the 62 car, the two Hyundais drag racing down the Kemmel Straight. As Dan Lloyd flashes the lights to let Tom Coronel know he's there. Coronel, though, the wily old fox, is not going to give way that easily. Morbidelli still tucked up behind. Now let's just take a look at this. Contact between Morbidelli and Coronel, and Dan Lloyd sneaks up alongside as Morbidelli runs wide going through La Source. So Magnus over Urrutia, 4 tenths just over. So still not a massive gap between the two Audis. Comte still 3rd, Claret still 4th, Potty still 5th, Kajaya 6th. As we once again take a look at this scrap down at the bottom end of the top 10, Coronel 10th, Lloyd 11th, Morbidelli 12th. And that is Brichet, I think, in the pits again. Trying to remember the helmet colours, but yes, I think that was Brichet in the pits. So needs to salvage something from tomorrow's race, does Julien Brichet. So I think, looking at the clock, we will have 2 more laps because there is a minute left on the clock. And so it will be when Gilles Magnus crosses the line next time that the field will start its final lap. Magnus then, Urrutia, 7 tenths now the gap between the pair of Audis. Then there's a nearly 2.5 second, 2.6 second gap back to Aurélien Comte in the Peugeot. 7 tenths behind Comte is Potty, who's now made it up into 4th, ahead of Jimmy Claret in the Peugeot. Kajaya still 6th, Homola 7th, Paulsen 8th, Engstler 9th, Coronel 10th. And then that battle we were seeing, Coronel, Lloyd, Morbidelli, 10th, 11th, 12th. And Gilles Magnus, you have to say, has the hopes of Belgium resting on his shoulders. So not only Magnus being Belgian, but the Come To You team Belgian. And there will be huge celebrations if he can bring it home. As Paulsen just takes up a little look. There's just a love kiss between Paulsen's Cupra and the Hyundai of Matto Homola. They come through Les Combes. Let's just take a little look at it again. Just a touch. Paulsen has no real option but to take to the runoff area, but takes no advantage from it. So the positions remain unchanged. Homola stays 7th, Paulsen stays 8th. There they are. And behind them, Engstler, there he is in the blue Hyundai, the Liqui Moly colours, ahead of Coronel, Lloyd, Morbidelli, Borkovic, Beckman, and now Luca Filippi in the Hyundai is up into the points. Danny Nage having dropped to 17th now behind Nelson Ponciatici, who you'll remember started the season so strongly at the Hungaroring. So what's going to happen here? This is the scrap we're now focusing on, I suspect. Stian Paulsen, currently 8th, having a real go at Matto Homola in the target competition Hyundai. The Hyundai, you'll remember, is carrying a lot more weight than the Cupra. Looking down the field, Ash Sutton is now 22nd in the Volkswagen. as the field streams around to start the final lap. So we are on lap 9 of this race here at Spa-Francorchamps, the final lap of round 5 of TCR Europe 2019. Maxime Potty flashes his lights at Aurélien Comte in front, all part of the psychology. There is Jimmy Claret in the predominantly blue Peugeot. His brother's is predominantly red. But Gilles Magnus now has a lead of over a second over Santiago Urrutia. Several cars getting warnings for track limits, but nobody getting penalised from what I can tell from my timing screen. There goes our leader. There's Urrutia in second. There is Comte in third. Potty really would like another podium finish. But look at this. This is Homola versus Paulsen. And behind, it's Luca Engstler versus Tom Coronel. Two really good battles on this final lap. Now, that's got to be looked at, surely. Engstler, a big cut to stay ahead of Coronel. But the two were virtually together. So will the stewards take a look at that after the race? There is Morbidelli. That's just behind Andreas Beckmann. Jessica Beckmann, incidentally, down in 23rd place after finishing on the podium 2 weeks ago. Also a podium finish for her last weekend in TCR Scandinavia, where she went as a guest entry. But I hope I don't jinx it, but I think Matto Homola has done enough to hold off Stian Paulsen. The race in its closing stages. Maxime Potty, excuse me, though, having a real go at Aurélien Comte and snatching third place. Maxime Potty finished twice on the podium here last year in TCR Europe and left it until the final lap to just unsettle Aurélien Comte enough in the Peugeot. Maxime Potty on course to finish on the podium in third place here in this 5th round of TCR Europe 2019. But there is our race leader. Gilles Magnus in the Audi RS3 LMS comes through the chicane for the final time. There in the background you saw Santiago Urrutia to make it a 1-2 for Audi at one of their strongest circuits of the year. The checkered flag falls, and so it's a lights to flag victory for our pole sitter, Gilles Magnus and the Come To You team. Congratulations to them and to Santiago Urrutia, his best result of the season. Maxime Potty holds off Aurélien Comte to finish third. Jimmy Claret is 5th. David Kajaya is 6th. Homola indeed held off Paulsen for 7th. And then behind the pair, and that's, is that Lilou Wadou? Is that the Peugeot of Wadou, who was down in 24th place? Yes, that would be... Yes, that is Abdullah Al-Khelaifi's Cupra in the foreground. And in the background, Lilou Wadou, the young French lady driver in the Peugeot, the JSB competition car. So I don't know we have that incident for a replay, but that was an incident way down at the bottom of the top 20. But indeed, our top two are in the Mini Park Fermé. We're just waiting for Maxime Potty to come round and park up in third position. Big smiles from the Come To You guys. A 1-2 then for Audi with Come To You, and this is the aftermath. And there is Lilou Wadou's car rolling and ending up in the gravel. Fingers crossed she's okay. And you can see what that means to the Belgians. Huge congratulations to Gilles Magnus for taking the victory. And so for the 3rd time in 3 race weekends, pole sitter for race 1 has gone on to score the victory. And of course, on the 2 occasions we've had so far, it's been Julien Brichet who's taken victory in race 2. I see Alfredo is in position to have a quick word with our race winner, but we'll confirm the result for you first of all. Gilles Magnus takes the victory then from Santiago Urrutia, the winning margin 1.5 seconds just over. Maxime Potti finishes third ahead of Aurélien Comte, Jimmy Claret, David Kajaya, Matto Homola, Stian Paulsen, Luca Engstler and Tom Coronel, while the rest of the point-scoring positions are filled by Dan Lloyd, Dusan Borkovic, Andreas Beckman, Gianni Morbidelli and Luca Filippi in the Hyundai. Unfortunately, Ponciatici, Naj, Nathan Bihel, Ash Sutton and Gavrilov outside the points. And then just looking down the order, Wadou and Al-Khalifi coming together on the final lap. Julien Brichet, Maribo Coppens, Josh Files, Ollie Kangas and Teddy Claret are our non-finishers. A dramatic first race then here at Spa-Francorchamps. Lots of great battles, but you have to say that was a dominant performance from Gilles Magnus. Let's hear from our race winner. He's down in pit lane with Alfredo Filippone.
Gilles Magnus win at home in Spa. You must be very, very happy.
Yeah, super delighted. I mean, it's like a dream coming true, winning in Spa. After Hockenheim, we worked really hard on the race pace, and as you see, it worked off. After amazing qualifying, we managed to weld the tires and won the race. Yeah, amazing feeling.
You kept control of the whole race since the beginning.
Yeah, that's what we worked on, the race pace and also the start. As you know, I'm a rookie in TCR, and the start is really difficult. But we managed as well this time, and we trained really hard before this race. And yeah, it paid off, so super delighted.
Good, excellent. Thanks. Now a nice podium ceremony for you. Well done.
Might be a rookie in TCR, but he's pretty much done it all. Gilles Magnus karting, Formula 4, the French Formula Renault Series, Blancpain GT, and he's also done the Dubai 24-hour race this year, where he finished 5th in an Audi RS3. So Gilles Magnus then the victor here in Spa-Francorchamps in the first of our two races this weekend. What has that done for the championship positions, I wonder? Surprisingly enough, Magnus getting the maximum points, Files getting a DNF means that there is now a change in the leadership. Gilles Magnus is our new championship leader, 22 points up on Files, 27 up on Brichet, also DNF. Santiago Urrutia up into 4th place. So then let's just remind ourselves of some of the highlights from this incident-packed first race here at Spa. So that then was race 1 here in Spa. There is Maxime Potti. So Come To You Racing have won the race, but WRT claimed the other 2 podium places. Santiago Urrutia in 2nd and Maxime Potti in 3rd. 2 Audis and a Volkswagen, with then 2 Peugeots. We expected to be strong here, but ultimately the Peugeots finishing 4th and 5th. It all tees up a very interesting second race, which we have for you tomorrow, starting at lunchtime. The race starts at 12 o'clock Central European time, 10 o'clock GMT, wherever you are in the world. And I do wonder, because of the very tight timetable here in Spa, are we going to have time for the podium ceremony? Surprisingly, the incident between 44 and 96 44 is Lilou Wadou. 96 is the Cooper of Abdullah Ali Al Khalifi. That is under investigation. So fingers crossed both Lilou and Abdullah are okay following that last lap coming together. Yep, it looks like we do have time for the podium ceremony after round 5 of TCR Europe 2019. And in third place in the Volkswagen Golf WRT Racing is Maxime Potti. I never like interrupting the national anthems, so the national anthem of Belgium. And the congratulations of our race winner. So on the top step of the podium, Gilles Magnus. On the left of your screen, Santiago Urrutia, Maxime Potti on the right. And there to present the trophies to a clearly delighted Gilles Magnus. And also congratulations to Come To You Racing. And there will be one more trophy to present, which is that of TCR Benelux, Yves Backlin, who is the president of the Belgian Federation, a regular steward of TCR International and now TCR Europe, so a familiar figure to TCR competitors, who are often in front of him for a telling off. But on this occasion, he has the awards for them. And as I was saying, TCR Benelux is the final trophy to be awarded. So, gentlemen, come together for the obligatory photograph. There will also be a spot of champagne spraying. You can go slightly wild with the champagne today because you don't have to get into a race car in a race suit drenched with champagne until tomorrow. But anyway, I think you'll agree that was an incident-packed first race here at Spa. We will hopefully see you all again tomorrow for race 2 here at Spa, and that's at midday. See you then.
Programme en 4 avec encore l'Eurocup, la GT Open Cup. Merci.